Welcome back to the Red Pill Report, where we dive deep into the most pressing and controversial issues of our time. I'm your host, Adam, and in this episode, we're taking on a current hot-button topic that has ignited intense debates across the nation. Get ready for an unfiltered exploration of the big tech censorship crisis and its implications on our freedom of speech and the future of democracy. In this segment, we examine the meteoric rise of big tech giants, their influence on the digital landscape, and the unprecedented control they wield over information dissemination. Companies like Google, Facebook, Twitter, and Amazon have become gatekeepers of information, shaping public discourse and filtering content to reflect their own biases. As they dominate the digital space, concerns about censorship, surveillance, and monopolistic practices loom large. The exponential growth of these tech giants has allowed them to amass vast amounts of user data, giving them the power to target individuals with precision and influence their opinions. Their algorithms curate our news feeds, determining what information reaches our eyes and what is hidden from view. As these platforms expand their reach, they become de facto public squares where essential discussions about politics, culture, and society take place. The implications of a handful of corporations controlling the flow of information are immense and raise serious questions about the health of our democracy. We delve into the battle for free speech in the digital age. While the First Amendment protects our right to express ourselves, the increasing power of big tech platforms threatens to silence dissenting voices. Social media, once hailed as a democratizing force for free expression, has become a battleground where free speech is often curtailed. Individuals who challenge prevailing narratives or express views deemed unpopular by the tech elite risk being labeled as dangerous or misinformed, resulting in deplatforming and shadow banning. The chilling effect of this censorship is felt across the political spectrum. Conservative commentators, in particular, have faced the brunt of big tech's content moderation policies, leading to concerns about ideological bias and the suppression of diverse perspectives. Liberal comedian and political commentator Bill Maher recently criticized big tech for their biased content moderation policies, stating that it's time for liberals to stand up for the First Amendment. Maher highlighted the dangers of suppressing free speech in the name of political correctness and called for a return to open dialogue and robust debate. We explore how big tech's content moderation practices often lead to the suppression of alternative narratives and diverse viewpoints. By designating certain information as misinformation or fake news, they control what users see and don't see, shaping public opinion in the process. The suppression of alternative narratives raises concerns about media manipulation and the potential for a homogeneous, one-sided information landscape. When tech companies become the arbiters of truth, the potential for abuse and bias becomes all too real. Critics argue that content moderation policies often disproportionately target conservative voices and perspectives. Instances of prominent conservatives, such as former President Donald Trump, being deplatformed or censored have raised questions about political bias within big tech. Moreover, the lack of transparency in content moderation decisions makes it difficult for users to understand how and why certain content is suppressed. The opacity of these processes adds to the perception of bias and further erodes trust in big tech platforms. The growing concerns over big tech's power have given rise to the techlash, as lawmakers and the public demand greater accountability and transparency. Critics argue that these tech giants have become too powerful, effectively creating a digital oligopoly that stifles competition and innovation. The techlash calls for antitrust measures to break up monopolies and restore a competitive digital landscape. In response to mounting pressure, some tech companies have taken steps to address content moderation concerns. For example, Twitter has introduced a birdwatch feature that allows users to fact-check tweets, aiming to incorporate community-driven moderation into the platform. However, navigating the regulatory landscape is a complex task. The challenge lies in balancing the need to address harmful content and disinformation while safeguarding free speech rights. Policymakers must tread carefully to avoid overreach that could inadvertently harm open discourse. As big tech platforms tighten their grip on content moderation, we explore the emergence of alternative and decentralized platforms. From blockchain-based social networks to independent media websites, these alternatives offer users the promise of more control over their data and a wider range of uncensored content. Decentralized platforms hold the potential to democratize information dissemination and place power back into the hands of users. By using blockchain technology and distributed networks, These platforms aim to eliminate centralized control and prevent content censorship. In the wake of deplatforming controversies, some conservatives have migrated to alternative platforms such as Parler and Gab, seeking an environment that upholds free speech values. However, these platforms have faced their own challenges, including difficulties in scaling and issues with moderation policies. While decentralized platforms are gaining traction, they face significant challenges in achieving mainstream adoption. Building critical mass and competing with the established giants is no easy feat, and the network effects that favor established platforms present significant hurdles to their success. Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act has been a hotly debated topic in the context of big tech's content moderation practices. This legal shield protects platforms from liability for user-generated content, but its application in the current landscape raises complex questions. Section 230 was intended to foster a robust online ecosystem where platforms could host a diverse range of user-generated content without fear of legal repercussions. However, the law's application has evolved in ways that lawmakers and the public are now scrutinizing. Critics argue that the blanket immunity provided by Section 230 allows tech companies to evade responsibility for harmful content on their platforms. Calls for reform or repeal have been growing louder, with proposals that would hold platforms more accountable for their role in disseminating harmful or illegal content. Some lawmakers have proposed amending Section 230 to condition platform immunity on adherence to transparency and content moderation standards. Others advocate for a duty of care approach, which would require platforms to take reasonable steps to address harmful content. However, finding a solution that balances free speech rights with the need to address harmful content remains a complex and contentious challenge. In this segment, we peer into the future of digital free speech and its implications for democracy and civil discourse. Will big tech continue to wield unchecked power, or will there be a seismic shift in how online platforms operate? The outcome of ongoing debates, legal battles, and public pressure will shape the future of digital free speech and influence the evolution of the digital landscape. Some argue that self-regulation by tech companies is insufficient and that government intervention is necessary to protect free speech rights online. Others caution against excessive regulation, fearing it could lead to unintended consequences and stifle innovation. Ultimately, the responsibility for preserving free speech in the digital age falls on all stakeholders, including tech companies, policymakers, and digital citizens. The choices we make today will shape the digital landscape for generations to come. We discuss how empowering digital citizens is essential to preserving free speech in the digital age. Understanding the complexities of information, ecosystems, media literacy, and the responsible use of technology are crucial in navigating the challenges posed by big tech's dominance. Promoting digital citizenship education, critical thinking, and ethical online behavior can equip individuals to be discerning consumers of information and active participants in shaping the digital public square. Teaching media literacy is particularly critical in an era of information overload, where distinguishing fact from fiction can be challenging. By arming individuals with the tools to critically assess information sources, we can fortify them against disinformation and manipulation. Empowered digital citizens can also play a role in shaping the future of the digital landscape. By actively participating in public discourse, engaging with policymakers, and supporting decentralized platforms that uphold free speech, individuals can make their voices heard in the ongoing battle for digital freedom. The influence of big tech extends beyond national borders, with implications for freedom of speech and democracy on a global scale. In countries with restrictive regimes, tech companies face pressure to comply with local censorship laws, raising questions about the role of tech giants in facilitating state-led repression. In democracies, the actions of big tech can impact free speech worldwide. Content moderation decisions made in one country can have far-reaching consequences for users in other parts of the world, leading to concerns about the localization of content moderation policies. Navigating the global implications of big tech's actions requires a nuanced understanding of different cultural, legal, and political contexts. As digital citizens, we must be aware of the potential ripple effects of content moderation decisions on a global scale. As we conclude this extended episode, let's reflect on the urgency of preserving our digital future. The battle for free speech and digital freedom is far from over, and the choices we make today will shape the world we live in tomorrow. As digital citizens, we must be vigilant and actively engage in discussions about the role of technology and its impact on society. Let us seek the truth, challenge prevailing narratives, and work together to safeguard our fundamental rights. Join us next time as we continue our journey down the rabbit hole, uncovering the hidden truths that shape our ever-changing world. This is Adam, signing off from the Red Pill Report. Stay awake, stay red, pilled, and never stop seeking the truth.